Dear Rockfin, let me go live on this broadcast, please. Or maybe not.
Are you going to play the Sabby intro again?
No. Hello. I think this probably works better for us. Hi. Thank you, everyone who's already here. This is amazing. To all of the people who have joined us already. Welcome to FHL's Roundtable for the week of September 2nd. I am Jackie. I'm going to be doing my best impression of a host for today because y'all know I am normally not the host. I normally just do nerdolitics. I talk about movies and shit. But today, I'm going to be doing my best impersonation. Today, we also have a special guest. Before we get to that, our resident FHL member from Hair of the Dog, Andy, is here.
Hello, hello.
And today, later on today, Meg is going to join us in the second hour. But for right now, let's welcome our guest from Bitch with Comrade Misty, which is the best title. Everyone, please welcome Misty.
Hi.
It worked for the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, well, it's my husband actually came up with it, and I love it. I think it's funny and accurate. It's like a therapy session. It's a 2-hour therapy session, essentially. It's a lot of fun. It really is. People get mad because I talk too much and I talk too fast, and I'm like, that's the point of that show.
It's also the fallback argument for any guy that's losing.
Fair. Okay.
Yay, Rockfin finally let me go live. The whole time it wasn't letting me go live. Okay. So
I would like to suggest that we call this because there's only 3 of us, instead of the round table, we should maybe call it the round end table.
Well, I mean, since there's only 3 of us, we can't really use round. It would have to be the triangle.
Yeah, triangle.
We're the welcome to this week's triangle.
Yes.
The Bermuda Triangle.
It could be like one of those like the tables in preschools, like of different shapes and stuff, or the little cute triangle table.
Are you trying to tell us that you had a problem getting the triangle in the circle of that little game?
Oh my god, I still have that. I still have my kids. I don't know why.
You can keep doing.
You still have your kids?
You could do it.
You haven't gotten rid of them yet?
No. Well, I mean, it's not from not trying, Jackie. No, they're little thingy-majiggy. You know what I'm talking about? That little ball thing with the shapes cut out, and you have to like turn it around. It's like a whole dexterity thing. I still have it for some reason. My kids are 10 and 13.
Thank you, Frank, for the $5.
Hi,
awesome.
Frank. General strike now. Straight up, homie.
Yeah. Indeed.
Do it.
If I were to get to the banners, I could do the whole thank you thing. Look at that.
Thank you.
I know what I'm doing.
The triangle thanks you.
Yes. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start out with a question that I have, because everybody is talking about, like, everybody, not only the mainstream media, but even the progressive media, they are constantly going on and on about how what a great thing it is that Biden has pulled out of the war of Afghanistan. And on the surface, it seems like it is a really good thing.
Listen,
that's what we wanted, right? We wanted to get we want to stop the wars. We want to get out of Afghanistan. My question is, did we really stop the war? Have we really gotten out of Afghanistan?
Nope.
And I'm going to show an article real quick because it seems like we might not be out of Afghanistan. And the title of this article, this is from the New York Times, by the way. Afghan family says errant U.S. missile killed 10, including 7 children. And this article is from August 30th, updated September 1st, which was yesterday. So, and this article is talking about this family saying, at first they thought it was the Taliban, but it turns out it was an American drone. So, doesn't look like we're that out of Afghanistan. It looks like we pulled boots on the ground out of Afghanistan, but we are still. See, look, at a news conference on Monday in Washington, General Frank McKenzie, commander of the U.S. Central Command, did not address the circumstances surrounding the drone strike, except to say that it dealt ISIS Khorasan a crushing blow when the group was hoping to deliver one last attack before the U.S. withdrawal. One last attack. I thought we were already out. Didn't they say that we already left?
And that's not the one last, Jackie. That's not the one last. I mean, okay. So everybody's like, okay. I'm going to get pissy here. I'm going to get pissed off because I'm pissed off. But everybody is praising Biden right now. And if you criticize Joe Biden, or if you say anything bad about Joe Biden right now, then, oh my God, what, you want war? No, you said that pulling boots off the ground, that's a good thing. It absolutely is a good thing. That's okay, fine, great. That's a wonderful thing. I'm not going to praise a piece of shit like Joe Biden for doing it. And I'm certainly not going to pretend that that means that the war is over. It's not. Joe Biden just gave a speech. And in that speech, he literally says, we don't need boots on the ground because we have over the horizon capabilities. He's talking about more drone strikes. And thanks to Daniel Hale, we know that drone strikes kill 90% innocent people. And that's what he's talking about continuing. He said that we're going to continue to fight the war on terror in Afghanistan and in other countries. This war isn't over, and lying to people about it and pretending that it's over is gross. That's not the truth. And yes, boots off the ground is great, but that doesn't mean it's over.
I agree. And you recently took some heat from other people
Ryan
in
Graham,
independent
Jordan
media.
Chariton, yes. And it's not the first time. They don't like me, and that's okay. Listen, Jordan thinks I'm too mean. That's fine. Like, you don't have to like me. I don't care. I'm not for everybody. I understand that. Like, I'm a human. I'm a grown-up. I know that not everybody's going to like me. That's fine. But don't try to pretend that I was saying something that I wasn't, pretending that I wasn't, like I was somehow criticizing Biden for taking troops out. And I've never said I'm not happy about it. I'm just not going to pretend it's something it's not. That's all. But they like to just come at me and try to pretend like it's I'm somehow just being a contrarian. No, the war's not over. It's not okay to pretend like it is. Stop lying to people. They have huge platforms, and they're lying to people about what reality is in Afghanistan.
Exactly.
You have anything to say on that, Andy?
The problem is that it's all about semantics, right? What we're talking about is the war on Afghanistan, right? The military's war on Afghanistan. If you're going to remove that segment of the occupation of Afghanistan, that doesn't mean that the U.S. is out, right? That means that contractors by the thousands are still in country doing the shit that they were doing before. And of course, what Misty said about the drone strikes, are civilians in Afghanistan still in danger of being killed by the United States? And the answer, of course, is yes, right? My biggest critique of the Biden administration has always been that you will never see them do something that costs the donor class money, right? Anything that happens, anything that they've done so far has not cost the donor class any money. So how does that apply to Afghanistan? You still have all of the weapons manufacturers, the ammunitions manufacturers, everybody that was involved in there with all the contractors are all making a shitload of money. They will not allow Joe Biden to leave Afghanistan completely because that would cut off the supply of money to continuing to bomb there, right? So that's the whole point. That's the whole key to this, right? You can say a certain thing. You can say that this is happening, but is the U.S. actually leaving? No. Are they going to stop killing people? No, right? And the other thing, Misty, I wanted to say, you're not allowed to say bad things about Biden. Why does anybody care? He's asleep all the fucking time.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
He fell asleep. Oh, meeting a
Yeah.
murderous.
Who was he talking to?
Oh God. Oh,
He's talking to another world leader. I don't remember who it was.
Israel. I just can't. I just blanked on his name. Oh, the Prime Minister of Israel.
Well, whoever it is, don't ask him.
Oh, it's gonna kill me. It's hurting my brain. Yeah, but he fell asleep, you guys. Oh, he fell asleep. It's so ridiculous. It's a charade. It doesn't matter who's president. I don't know if anything could make that more clear than Donald Trump followed up by Joe Biden. You really think either of them are making decisions? Of course not. Don't be ridiculous.
My hope is that if this ever happens again, when he's on TV at a live press conference like that, and he falls asleep and somebody nudges him, he'll wake up like, throw the bastard in jail. Oh,
wow. Okay.
Sorry.
So I decided to Google Biden falls asleep, right? And I'm sure you will all be shocked to see that the stories on Google say President Joe Biden did not fall asleep.
Oh,
Fact checkers debunk the claim that Biden fell asleep.
Fact
Video
checkers.
clips disprove claim that Biden fell asleep. Fact check clips cut Biden's response during Israel. Biden didn't fall asleep. Biden didn't fall asleep. Video purports to show Biden asleep in meeting with Israeli prime minister. And then all the images show his eyes closed. But everybody said, like, Snopes, did Biden fall asleep?
Snopes.
No.
Oh.
President Biden didn't fall asleep. He was inspecting his eyelids.
Yeah, no, like every dad or grandpa says, I'm not sleeping, I'm just resting my eyes. Does anybody else's dad say that, or grandpa? Like, that's like a thing in
My dad.
I say that.
I'm just resting my eyes. I'm sure everybody does, but my husband says it. Like, no, you're not. You're sleeping. You were just snoring. Shut up.
Right? Yeah, that's
he was
think
asleep.
It's hilarious.
And it's not the first time. Why are we pretending like it's the first time? Why are we pretending like he's not a complete, like, I don't even know. Again, I don't know what can make it more obvious that the presidency really doesn't matter.
Well, the other thing could be that, you remember that fly that landed on
Obama?
No, that on what's his name, the vice president during his
Mike Pence.
debate. Yeah, Mike Pence's head. There's a conspiracy theory that was a mechanically controlled device that was controlled by the Democrats, and they were flying it around to test it, right? So now we could say that the Republicans have a better, stronger, faster fly that's able to deliver a dose of like some sleeping agent that puts you to sleep. Right? So they could say that.
Yeah. Oh, they'll try any excuse.
Yeah, that just reminds me of that. If you know anything about like Norse mythology, how Loki, how Thor got Mjolnir, Loki turned into a fly and was stinging people's eyes. So when you say like there's like a spy fly, that's what that reminds
Listen,
me.
I put
A
nothing past these
nerdology
crazy people.
Connection there to our roundtable. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, to the triangle table.
That's funny.
Right. To the triangle table. I'm sorry.
Yes, but Afghanistan is not over. Are we still talking about that? I don't know. I'm still pissed off. I'm really just still pissed off.
Okay, wind it up, Misty. Take us home.
No, like seriously, it's just going to be me ranting because I'm just really tired of these leftists, like, you know, the Ryan Grimms, the Jordan Cheritons, the David Doles. It's controlled opposition if I've ever seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're lulling you back to sleep. They're pretending like a war is over when the president literally just said in a speech, like a national speech, that we have, you know, over the horizon capabilities. Like we're going to do drone war. We're still going to fight the war on terror. I did a show with Danny Scherzen like 3 weeks before the withdrawal even happened. And we talked about this thing where it's not a withdrawal. It's just like a reimagining. It's like you know what I'm saying?
It's rebranding.
Right.
Yes.
It's rebranding. It's it basically, my take on this is that it is a rebranding for 2022 election purposes. Because even though the mainstream media is very much against it and neolibs are against it, they're hoping that, because here's the thing, first of all, this was like a mask off moment for me to see how many people are okay with war. Just us saying we're getting out of a country we never should have gone in the first place. And so many people saying, no, you can't leave. And just like scrounging the bottom of the barrel for excuses. Oh, it looks like Meg decided to join us early. She's almost there.
But yeah, like we got to stay for the women and children. What?
Yeah, which the women and children, if you have seen, if anybody's seen before pictures, and everybody welcome Meg to the stream.
Hi, Meg.
Hey guys.
We are talking
Corners on our
about
table.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, now
fun.
now we're a square table. Before we're a rectangle.
just a
Before we were a
triangle.
triangle. Yeah. We're talking about the fact that we never really left Afghanistan. We've just replaced boots on the ground with drones. That's the subject.
And it's been rebranded. We're trying to rebrand it. It's not the first time we've done this. And now people are going to go back to sleep and they're going to think the war. And people like Kyle Kulinski and Ryan Grimm are helping facilitate that thought because they're convincing people that the war is over, and it's not. And now people are going to stop paying attention, and that's the whole purpose of this exercise. Really, it's gross.
Well,
Yeah.
and one other thing I wanted to mention is that the 9/11 saved George W.'s presidency, right? Like that, he was a lame duck president. He was languishing in the polls when 9/11. He came off like a hero, right? And so Biden is of that era, right? Where if things aren't going well, threaten to blow somebody up, and then you have all of the unplugged people in red states that are cheering, yay, red, white, and blue, all this stuff. That's an old playbook, but that's the playbook that he still has, right? So this is probably an exercise in an avenue that may save him because of all the heat that he's getting from basically just doing exactly the same thing Trump did, right? And being held because they're going to languish in the 2022 midterms, right? If things go the way they are going to do horribly. It'll be just right back to 2 years after Obama was president.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's
the
plan.
They make more money in the opposition, right?
Democrats are fundraisers and Republicans are legislators. Like they push all the horrible shit through with the Democrats' assistance, and then Democrats are just fundraisers. They like to wait until things are bad, pretend they can't do anything when they have power. There's always like a Joe Manchin, or that Joe Manchin, if it weren't for him, we could just do these progressive things. There's always that guy, right? And then they want to fail the next election cycle because then they can blame, they can then blame it on Republicans. Well, it's their fault. We can't get anything done. They have power now.
Sure.
And that's the cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a song that never ends.
Joe Biden's imaginary friend is the parliamentarian, right?
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Meg?
I mean, not really. You guys pretty much covered it. No, I mean,
it is pretty. It's historical. Like, we have precedent for seeing it. Like, this is how it always goes. It's the cycle. And I wish people would recognize that. Like, we have the ability to. It's just weird because we have the ability. It doesn't have to be this way, and yet we just keep on keeping on.
Yeah,
It's
it
weird.
never changes. It's completely tracted from reality. Imagine an attack in the United States anywhere where a small children and women were killed by anybody, how horrendously this would be looked at through the history of the United States. And Sandy Hook, right? And we're delivering a Sandy Hook to Afghanistan on a daily basis. But it's a detracted thing because it's across the world, and most people don't hear about it because they don't talk about it on Fox News.
and I'll kind of go off of what Andy was just saying because I was just listening to Katie Halper's episode with I can't think of his name right now, but he was a army soldier.
Danny Scherzen. I just did it.
Yes,
yeah.
Danny.
I was just telling that story 3 weeks before the withdrawal. I did a show with him, and he's great.
Yeah, and they were basically saying a lot of the same things. Like, basically the whole idea now is, by making as much of it, because after Vietnam, they really learned their lesson of, we can't have all these body bags coming home. So, what's the easiest way to make sure that we have fewer of our body bags coming home, but still killing lots and lots of people? Drones. And if especially with drones, you can make as many of those things classified as you possibly can. I mean, they were also talking about the fact that we have, soldiers in all these different parts of Africa and Asia, like in Nigeria. And we don't know where all of our soldiers are. We're in so many different places, but because it's all drone warfare or classified, we don't know half of the shit that our military is actually doing. And it's all in this guise of, it's all humanitarian. We have to be
or
protecting
national
women.
security.
Or national security. And it's all this guise of being able to do these things. Like, we don't know half the shit. We don't know half of what's going on. But thanks to people like Daniel Hale, we know at least a little bit about what's going on. And they're the ones thrown in jail. It is absolutely insane.
Speaking of Daniel Hale, we keep bringing up that name. Does anybody know the full story so that they can inform everyone?
I sure
Misty
do.
does.
Awesome, of course.
So Daniel Hale, Hale's a
for it.
whistleblower who released the drone papers, so he exposed the fact that drones kill 90% civilians or innocent bystanders. He also exposed the fact, like the no-fly list, and like the arbitrary measures of which it would take for somebody to get on there, and the like impossibility of getting off of it. And so a lot of people have been able to use his releases to battle in court to get off of that ridiculous list. Daniel Hale is an amazing whistleblower. He was just recently sentenced to 54 months in jail, in prison, which is absolute garbage. I mean, it bothers me because we always punish our truth tellers, and war criminals are literal war criminals are walking free, and Daniel Hale's in prison. And that's always really frustrating to me it's like a continual thing where, we just keep Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, John Kiriakou, Daniel Ellsberg. They're always the ones who get punished, and the actual criminals who are, drone striking babies, they get to go on Ellen and, paint and, like Tony Blair is still going on TV. MSNBC is having Bush era administration officials on TV to talk about Afghanistan. They should be in prison, but here we are. And it's really frustrating. So Daniel Hale is an amazing whistleblower. Please support him. We don't have a permanent address for him yet, but hopefully soon. He's still in the holding process.
Right. Yeah. While we're on the subject, I wanted to talk about the importance of whistleblowers, because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about who is really the gatekeeper for information that we get in this country. I think a lot of people, there's this partisan politics, right? Everybody wants to say it's blue versus red, it's left versus right. And a lot of people don't realize that almost all of the people who are whistleblowers, who are on the run from Democratic presidents. Everybody wants to say it's Republicans. It's the Democrats that Snowden, Assange, Hale, all of these people are running from Democrats, not Republicans, because the Democrats are the ones who don't want you to know what they're actually doing. Republicans will tell you and do it anyway.
Republicans will come for you too, though. Whistleblowers, Republicans will come for you too. They're all on the same team. But yeah, you're right. It's usually, generally speaking, well, I think it's because Democrats are more, it's like they're able to do the terrible things because they're the good guys, you know what I mean? And so it's Bill Clinton and the Telecommunications Act. It's, the Bush era tax cuts being codified. It's all of those things that Democrats can do. And people just kind of sleep through it, and they don't pay attention to how unbelievably awful it is. But so, I mean, it's like this weird, it's very weird how everything works out. But yeah, they're all coming for whistleblowers. None of them. I mean, it was Donald Trump that arrested Julian Assange. So, I mean, Obama wouldn't do it. He didn't want to affect his legacy.
Well, the Democrats are more dangerous than the Republicans. Republicans will stab you in the chest. The Democrats stab you in the back while holding your hand, saying "there," right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. They have this facade of being the party for the people, but in many ways they're worse than the Republicans, right? because at least you know how you stand with Republicans. That's a huge difference. There was one quick thing I wanted to bring up, Jackie, about this, about like Afghanistan, just to kind of put a bow on it. We talk about this, the budget, the military budget that keeps going up by whatever it is, 5 or 7% every single year. And in peacetime, that's an awful lot of money to spend, right? So that's why if you're listening, you hear stories about the military issuing mattresses that cost $3,000 a piece, right? Or any of these things are paying huge amounts of money for contracts to come and do a very small, very simple job, right? Because the problem is, if you don't at least show that you are spending your entire budget, there's no reason to raise, right? Or in many cases, if you can't spend your whole budget, most of the time you'll have pressure to lower that budget, because then the powers that be will say, well, you can do without that money. You don't need that much money, right? So this money that's being updated every single year that goes up, in the military has to justify it. So they're paying exorbitant prices for everything. They're being completely wasteful. We know that the military industrial complex is the world's biggest polluter, the biggest contributor to greenhouse gases, right? So this is one of the grade A major issues that we face in the world with climate change. The military in the U.S. is basically the employer of last resort. That's wrong. Ask people in Michigan how often they're inundated with these military people coming around trying to recruit students as young as 15 and 16 years old, right? So we have to wake up to this. We have to come to an understanding that the military, the U.S. military, is the problem with so many things in our world, right? Until people wake up, it's just going to stay the same, and we're just cutting our own throats.
I agree. Really quick, I want to say thank you to Adriana Sandoval for the $10 tip on Rockfin.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who has given us a super chat or a super sticker so far. I agree, actually, with everything that you just said. I think our problem is cyclical, and it basically, the military industrial complex is like a Ponzi scheme, because people get into it, and you can charge the military anything. You can charge $10,000 for a $100 mattress, and they'll pay it. And then they will even look to, like, there's a reason why we have so many tanks. It's so we can spend the money. Thank you, Frank. And it's like, again, it's cyclical, right? So we have the tanks because we needed to spend the money to justify the budget. So then when the budget comes around, we can say, well, we need the money. Why? Because we have the tanks. Well, the people aren't going to stand for that. So what are you going to do? You have to have a war. You have to use these tanks. So we buy the tanks to spend the money. Then we need to start a war to use the tanks to justify buying the tanks, to justify spending the money. And all of this doesn't really matter because nobody audits the Pentagon. And then when they do get audited, $21 trillion, latest estimates, is up to 35. Just, I don't know what happened.
Can you imagine? Jesus, $35 trillion.
Yeah, they have this lounge in the Federal Reserve, and they'll take the cushions out of the couch and they just shake it upside down. Like $3 trillion comes out.
Yeah, trillions.
It's in their dryer.
Yeah,
like they wash it and dried it. Came out of their pants pocket.
To
Whoopsie-daisy. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
it is a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I heard this earlier today, and I thought it was fantastic. Like, we are one of the only countries who, we don't make weapons for war, we make war to sell weapons.
Yes. Yep. And then sometimes
And
we'll
that's
just
how
give
it
them to
is.
the Taliban because then they have weapons, guys, and now we really have to fight them. So we'll just accidentally leave some behind when we're leaving the country we've been decimating
Oops.
for 20 years. Whoops, it easy. Can't believe that happened.
We are Tony
well,
Stark.
Yeah, and then
we're just giving weapons to
they're
everybody.
now they're armed, you guys. So now we have to fight them. Obviously, they're dangerous. They're a threat. Like we got to fight them now. I mean, it's a joke, and people just fall for this shit over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just ridiculous. Can we talk about the way that the information war is ties into this? Because you're propagandized. It's because the American populace is the most propagandized country on earth. It's not even a question anymore. It's not even a question anymore. I mean, seriously, we're in the middle of a pandemic, a homelessness crisis. Like there's a ton of really terrible things happening to Americans right now. We can't even get a $2,000 check. We can't, and people are just like, oh yeah, okay, that's the best we can do.
But how are we going to pay for it?
Are you joking? And again, Andy was just talking about the money that we give to the military. We just gave them an additional, just approved $21 billion on top of the $714 billion we were already giving them. And people are about to losing their houses. People are about to lose their unemployment. People are starving. We have no health care. We're in the middle of a global pandemic and an economic crisis. And everybody's just like, yeah, I guess that's just the best we can do. It's all we deserve. Are you joking me? Oh, you deserve so much better. We deserve so much better. Stop bullshitting yourself for the love of everything good in this world. Stop bullshitting yourself. They've convinced you are not worthy, and you are. It pisses me off. So
Right.
I told you.
The problem, I believe that where it stems is from journalists. Because we used to have journalists to keep them accountable. And now journalists give their propaganda, which keeps everybody asleep. And so to me, journalists they're supposed to be the ones to keep the politicians from being able to do the things that the politicians are doing. And now they're making excuses for politicians to allow them to do the things that they are doing. For example, when all of the news outlets say, we're out of Afghanistan, we drowned like several people, they were, you know what? It's just a few. It's just like a couple families.
That was like last call. Right.
We gotta get one more
right?
in. Just one more. We gotta get one more in. Yeah.
Right. And
psychopaths.
But see, if journalists would point out, would say, we have not left Afghanistan. We are still there. If journalists would point out, hey, the Pentagon hasn't had an audit. It's time for it to be audited. If journalists would point out the insider trading that is being done inside Congress, maybe we could get rid of them before an election year.
Right.
But they don't do that until after the election's already set.
If they do it at all.
So to me, like, journalists have a lot to do with that. Because they don't mention these things. Like the average person, most people watching us right now, you're all political junkies. That's why in a non-election year, you are watching a show on a random Thursday about politics.
Yeah.
Because you're political junkies. Your relatives probably think you're crazy. They have no idea what's going on. They think they do because they watch the news. And all that they are really learning is to be complicit with the narrative. And the thing that gets me is nowadays, it has worked so well that they have admitted that they are telling you a narrative, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not, and that they are in cahoots with the big tech companies. For example, that's why when you Google, did Biden fall asleep, all of the responses you see, literally every single response you see is, no, he didn't fall asleep. No, he didn't fall asleep. Fact check, fact check, fact check.
He clearly fell asleep.
Fact check, fact check. Right.
Don't believe your lying eyes, Jackie.
Exactly. Like I remember when Hillary Clinton was when she was running for office, and people were wanting to know about the emails. And it's still neoliberals to this day will still say, but her emails. Yeah, those emails actually proved that she did some shady shit that she normally would, like normally if journalists actually held people to account, she probably would have had at least lots of fines, if not possible jail time, for the things that were admitted in those emails.
If the law applied to her.
Like, no, but they're just emails. Yes, they're emails that incriminate her. But you guys want to sweep that to the side. I'm not saying Trump is innocent. He should be in jail too. Shit,
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it. all of the presidents that we have had,
Oh.
at the very least in my lifetime, are war criminals.
Yep.
Just saying. But the reason why they get away with it is because the military-industrial complex has essentially bought out, and this is true, by the way, because all of the media is owned by 6 corporations. Those 6 corporations have heavy ties to the corporations that own the military-industrial complex. So essentially, and even if they don't own them directly, through advertising, they pretty much still own the media. Mm-hmm. So either way, the media is paid for. And it's paid for by companies like Raytheon. Companies that are the ones that are getting those $10,000 paychecks for the $100 mattresses. That's how your media is paid for.
And those are the same people that own your elected officials too.
And those are the same people that pay TYT and Kyle and Sager and Crystal and everybody else that gets money on the left that, you know, and all you're stuck with is just us on the dumb left.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not even pretend like a lot of these, you know, whether it's the New York Times, the Washington Post, the, you know, ABC, whoever it is, you know, MSNBC, they are just as complicit because they get paid by these same companies too. So they want to push war because war sells newspapers. War gets your eyeballs on the screen.
Yeah.
So they are just as complicit.
They want
you watching the news.
To me, the media is maybe the biggest threat that we face in this country. I'm open to being wrong on that, but that's my personal opinion, that the mainstream media in this country is the biggest threat that we face, because who is it that lies us into every war? Who is it that, you know, tells us lies about politicians and elected officials? And, you know, it's constant. It is constant. The mainstream media lies to you constantly about everything. And, you know, a lot of people aren't aware of that. And they think if they go and watch, you know, 30, 45 minutes of CNN, that they're informed, that they're educated on what's going on in their country, and they're not. And so not only are you being taught or, you know, led to vote against your own interests, people are literally being led to think against their own interests. It's like I said earlier, we've been beaten down. So like, we just think that this is the best we can do and this is all we deserve. And that's exactly how they do it. They just keep lulling you to sleep. They just keep telling you the story that you want to hear in the way that they need to tell you to manufacture consent for whatever horrible thing they're going to do to you.
The biggest, most successful propaganda machine in the history of the world, right? And I don't know if I said it before here, but my favorite example is that a bear standing up on his back legs wearing a hat, telling kids that only you can prevent forest fires. What kind of a fucking thing is it to say to a kid that they're responsible for forest fires?
Well, I mean, okay,
I had not thought about that before.
I hadn't either. I shouldn't laugh. That's terrible, but yeah.
I know I don't like to broach the subject because of, you know, demonetization. But let's just say that there's a certain thing in the air that's been going around that the media loves to tell you: if you don't wear a mask in social distance, it's your fault if people die. If you don't get a jab, I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to get demonetized, but if you don't get stuck in the arm, then it's your fault, people die. It's the government's ploy to make, another situation, if you use a plastic straw, you're personally killing turtles. You are personally polluting in the Pacific Ocean. The reason why there's a pile of plastic in the ocean the size of Texas has absolutely nothing to do with the industries that dump it out there, and it's 100% your fault for drinking your soda through a straw. It's a trick of the government to force you to rely on personal responsibility, to basically put any responsibility away from them. So let's not do mass testing. Let's not do genuine quarantining. Let's not do contact tracing. Let's make everybody believe that it's their fault. Now go back to work. Go back to work because we need your labor. Go back to school because we need, schools only get paid if there are kids there. So we need you guys to go back to society because
and parents
we
can't
need
go
your
back
money.
to work if you're not in school.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Exactly. We need
That's wasn't it
we
George
need the
Carlin?
labor, so
George Carlin, obedient workers.
Yes.
yes.
God, George Carlin. We like people need. It should be like you should, everybody should watch George Carlin.
Yeah.
He was so ahead of the game. Or Carl Sagan. The tweet was just going around the other day. The excerpt out of his book that he like predicts literally everything that we're dealing with right now, like very explicitly. You know, like the kind of dumbing down of America and how we have like a 3-second attention span and everybody. You know what I mean? Like we've been dumbed down. Again, we've been beaten down. So like we're just willing to accept this nonsense. It is it's offensive. It is offensive to me that this is all that we're able to get. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's the year 2021 in the United States of America, and we can't even get progressives to fight for a floor vote on Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic. That is insanity. That's insanity that we're willing to accept that. That's like flicking crumbs in your direction, everybody being like, yes, queen, thank you. No, unacceptable. We deserve more. We deserve better. And any progressive who's not in there flipping tables, no. Nope, I don't have time for it. Nobody should have time for that. It's so frustrating.
Thank you, JB Font, for the super chat.
JB, how you feeling?
Hope he's feeling better.
Dude? Yeah. Everybody
Yes,
should go and
I
send
hope
him
you're feeling
hot
better.
mail nurses on Twitter. That's what he asked
Yeah,
for.
anybody
That'll
could
make it feel better, I'm sure.
use like a sponge bath right now or something, you know.
I love JB.
I want to address this comment from Alex. Stop trafficking with right-wing BS, Jackie. And then
Ooh, it's probably talking about
they
me.
said,
Ooh.
those aren't accurate analogies. You're not going to win right-wing fuckheads to want Medicare for all through doing that.
What are
Well,
you talking
thank
about,
you for
Alex?
being very clear. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, yeah. If you want to address something blatantly and say, like, this, your analogy of XYZ doesn't work because ABC, feel free to do that.
Yeah.
But, like, the way you commented, you just basically you're just like, you're wrong, but didn't mention on what or why. I said quite a few things. So, yeah. Be a little more clear if you want us to actually come back with anything. Anyway, but as far as getting the right wing to get Medicare for all, that's actually really easy. The pandemic almost did the job for us. It's really easy to convince people, hey, all the other developed countries in the world have healthcare that's paid for. You want that too, don't you? Yes.
More than 50% of
That's
Republicans polled want Medicare for or Medicare for all, healthcare for some. Like we're gonna have a debate about how it's implemented and whether it's at point of you know what I mean. Like those are all conversations we're gonna have. But you can, like, this isn't about right wing talking points. This is something that's like everybody agrees on, and we can't even get like a tiny bit of movement in the right direction on this, and that's insane. That it shouldn't be that way. Like I think it's like something like 88% of Democrats that are polled support Medicare for all, like 56 or 51 or something like that. I'd have to look at the latest polls. Of Republicans support it when polled. So, but we can't even get like a floor vote. Like we can't even get progressives now. They've shifted their rhetoric to access and expansion. Progressives that ran on this are talking about expansion. No, I'm still supposed to cheer for that. No. Get out of here.
And again, it's because there are too many in the donor class that will lose too much money with Medicare for all, right? You're basically destroying the health insurance industry because you don't need it anymore, right? Like
pharmaceuticals.
I'm a Canadian. I live this shit every day. When I want to go see my doctor, I go see my doctor. Doesn't cost me anything. My doctor bills the government. They send them a check. It's the end of it. I
don't appreciate the violence of you coming up in here and letting us all know.
I'm just
you
trying
could just
to
go get a
explain
doctor.
why this should be the case.
That is violence, Jackie.
With neoliberal regimes in power, like Biden, will cost the donor class too much money. So until these guys, they were not willing to do this. They are not willing to do it until they're forced to do it. That's why where we're coming from in the activism on the grassroots level is how it's going to change, right? That's
really
not the
quick,
Democrats.
on Rockfin, Alexandra said we need an NHS style, which is better than M4A.
Mhm.
And I have
I
been
don't know.
fighting for peace and justice for decades. I am not going to see this in my lifetime. None of us will. I am a realist and a cynic for a good reason. Too many ignorant, mean-spirited Americans.
We've been propagandized to be that way, though.
Yes.
We've been like, you pick yourself up by your bootstraps, individualism. Like you shouldn't depend on anybody but yourself. Like that's Americans have been brainwashed into being that way, which means we can be kicked out of it. Like we have to start. That's why combating propaganda and the narrative control. Like that's,
I don't know, because there's that statistic that it's easier, or that saying, which came from like a scientific study, that it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince someone that they have been fooled.
For sure. But it's still doable. I mean, look, RJ.
It's doable,
RJ used to simp for Boy Wonder Spook.
Oh no, we don't mention that.
Oh, he tweets about it.
It's taken us a whole year to kill that story.
Right.
Then he just tweeted about it. Why is he tweeting about it then? RJ? But yeah, it's possible. I've seen people in my own life change. Like, I live in Trump country, and I am able to have conversations with people about stuff like healthcare or ending the wars. And it's like, I may not agree with them on everything, but if you want to end the wars, okay, let's do that, please. I don't care if we have disagreements on other things. Let's do that thing, because I want to end the wars. I don't care. I don't care what you think about.
Actually in the wars, not just in name only, which is essentially what is happening in Afghanistan.
Package it, yeah.
I want to mention Frank's comment on the super chat. Fellow comrades, our planet is on fire. Stay home. Don't buy crap. General strike now. I agree.
Yeah.
So we need mutual aid. We need mutual aid. Go ahead, Meg.
I just want to bring up this point about the fact that we are, in fact, the most propagandized country, and this starts very, very young. Just like how, I'm sorry, I just never really understood the whole, I don't know if, this is now something that is happening in the schools in Florida now that DeSantis has decided that we are going to, after the Pledge of Allegiance, which I always thought was kind of weird to have a Pledge of Allegiance to a flag. But after the Pledge of Allegiance, now our students have to stand for a moment of silence. That is now required in Florida schools, that they have to stand for a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance. So this, as I was saying,
yeah,
I don't know.
What are they honestly silence for?
I don't know.
So
that's the thing.
Getting more and more nationalistic, which is leading us towards fascism. I thought that everybody who voted for Joe Biden was voting against fascism.
I know, right? But
that's what I was told. I was told
Captain Crime Bill
Biden to get fascism to stay away.
Yeah, it's because the teachers have to get to the student lounge so they can smoke a quick doobie before they start class.
No.
Well, Meg's a teacher, so she would know.
No. But, so I wanted to bring up this, this post on Facebook that JB actually shared with me. And I'm going to skip over most of it because a lot of it is like how we don't even know how to teach children how to do critical thinking and how they're actually supposed to learn. Because there's so much of, and there's different modes of teaching, including the banking model versus like Aristotle's school of making lectures and research and all that. But a lot of teaching is just lecturing. That's a lot of what it is. It's just lecturing and basically trying to not tell people what to think, but tell them how to think. Tell them how to think, but not how to critically think, not to read between the lines. That's not what it's all about. And so one of the things that it says in this post is it's all smoke and mirrors. All the carefully crafted objectives, units, exams. We don't know how people learn. We barely understand the physical mechanisms behind memory. But we do know kids aren't empty piggy banks. They are brimming with thought. The last and most disgusting reality, the thing I hear in classroom after freaking classroom, education is all about capitalism. You need to learn these skills to get a good job. Like, oh, you need to be able to learn. And I've heard this from other teachers. Like, because there are students that I've seen in middle school who, because of the shitty teaching in elementary school, and basically just pushing them through because they had bad behavior, like, a lot of them didn't know how to read in middle school. So they were trying to just push them through. It was like, oh, but they can't learn at this point. It's just too late. So if we can just at least make it so that he can fill out a job application, then we did our job. Like, that's not what education is supposed to be about.
All this is by design.
Exactly. Like, that's not what education is really supposed to be about. But this is what we're teaching them. To be a good laborer. To help the wealthy generate more wealth while we get scraps. That's what modern education is all about. And that's why modern education is a failure. This is why things in the United States are so shitty. Because nobody knows how to think critically. Because they're not taught to.
Yeah.
So like, rather, if I want to teach a kid to read, I want to teach him how to read, Marx.
Sure.
Like, this is
be helpful.
Comrade Meg.
And this is why I don't want to be, like, this is why I'm only a substitute teacher. Because I hate, I hate the education system as it is. And I don't want to teach kids. I don't want to be an authoritarian figure to them. This is why I hate teaching. Like, but I find it so rewarding when I can actually help a kid. That's the thing I find so rewarding, is when I can help them and help them to think critically and to be able to actually show growth in learning. But the whole authoritarian bullshit and making them obedient, I hate that shit. It drives me insane, and I hate it with every fiber of my being. It makes me feel sick. And like, I feel every single time I feel like I have to do that, I feel like I am taking a little something from them in order to make them an obedient member of society, and it drives me crazy. It makes my skin crawl. It's like a strange dichotomy every single time I'm in a classroom. It's like, okay, how much do I be the authoritarian and make sure that they're learning, and how much do I just let them be who they are? And sometimes I don't even know what to do.
Well, and it's tough because what happens is the kids are getting a lot of their information from their parents, obviously, but their parents
and there's
have
so
been
much that
watching,
you can't unlearn that too sometimes.
Well, and there's a comedian in England that one of my favorite lines was, opinions are like assholes, right?
That was Beth.
But
bourgeois alien.
how they're different is your opinions should be examined on a daily basis, right? That you shouldn't be afraid to change your opinions. You shouldn't be, because you stop learning. You stop learning from other people, from your environment, from your own thoughts, right? And if you're a full cup and you tribalized and you just listen to the same things over and over again, you don't learn, you don't grow as a person, and you don't teach your kids to do that because you're handing them the same idiocy that you understood, and they're just growing up in the same household because the education system is falling apart because it's funded by the state, which is a currency issuer or currency user, not a currency issuer. So they only have a budget because they have to budget around collection of taxes, unlike the federal government that could completely fund all education everywhere in the United States, and it would be great.
Y'all.
But regardless of that, you still have this generation now that are being taught mostly because of their parents, especially over the last 2 years because of in-home learning. And they have to come up with these critical thinking mechanisms on their own.
And this is all by design. It's all by design. All of this is by design. Our curriculum is that such that we're like just like cookie cutter, making like these little cogs in the wheel. We have like one teacher for like 30 kids or 35 kids or whatever. You can't teach really. You're going to put somebody in a room with 36, 7, 8, 9-year-olds and expect them to be able to teach them? Get out of here. That is ridiculous. I mean, and you're right. We could totally do this. Look at, we were just complaining about all the money we just sent to the military industrial complex again. Imagine if we, didn't do that and we spent that on educating our children, the people who are going to, but they don't want us to have a thriving society. The top 1% want it all for themselves. And they want to make sure that nobody else, they don't want an equitable society. They don't want us to all have equal opportunities. And this is a political choice. We could 100% fund education and have an outstanding, we probably can't even conceive of how good our education system could be in this country if we actually wanted to do it. It's political choice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to address this comment really quick. Bill Bradley says fascism, by definition, involves heavy governmental regulation of the market. I don't think people in general are using that term right. Free market capitalists can be authoritarian but not fascist because of the lack of market regulation by the government. What makes you think the government doesn't regulate the market? Do you remember GameStop? The government absolutely regulates the market whenever. That was a prime example of regulation. Here's another one, 2008.
Just on the people, not on corporations or rich people.
Right. Well, it only goes one way.
Because fascism is really like the cahoots of the corporations and government. Like, the corporations own the government.
Yeah.
We live in fascism.
Right. The only way to live in a successful capitalist system is with heavy regulation. That's the only way that you can do it, because an unfettered system I'm the main producer of a series called The New Untouchables right now, where they're doing an in-depth look at the 2008 Great Financial Crisis and how the things that got everybody in trouble back in 2008 are still happening. That was completely because of fraud or corruption in the banking industry, in the real estate industry, all of those aspects, right up through securities in the mortgage. All of those people were completely corrupt, and nobody went to jail, and that's still going on. And the only thing that would have stopped that was regulations, and it being by properly funding regulators to watch those people. But the government turns a blind eye because rich people and banks apparently run the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, there's been 50 million foreclosures since 2008, and it's still happening.
Okay, I want to pivot to the next part. There's another article, because what would I do without articles?
I love articles.
It's too bad
Supreme Court ruling.
It's too bad we don't have articles of impeachment.
Right?
But then we get Kamala.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that wouldn't make things better for us.
And then impeach her. No, because then we get Pelosi.
No, it's just a bag of shit all the way down.
Yes.
Supreme Court makes stunning ruling refusing to block Texas anti-abortion law. So, this is going to pivot into two different types of conversations. The first one may come at you kind of from nowhere. So just really quick, the law in Texas is unique, and that it doesn't just put the state in charge of the enforcement of the highly restrictive ban. Rather, any individual is allowed to sue someone in the state if they believe that person provided abortion services or otherwise helped another person to access them. So, yeah, basically, even though the law itself is unconstitutional, the Supreme Court held it up. And I think that the reason why they are doing this is the whole reason why these states like Texas and like basically the southern states, the whole reason why they're doing these is to try to force companies like Southern Poverty Law Center to escalate, to send these up to the Supreme Court to essentially retry Roe v. Wade now that they have a majority Supreme Court. Now, this is going to pivot into a couple of different conversations. One conversation is going to be about the whole Supreme Court, about the whole, whether or not Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have just retired, or whether it really is all our fault for voting for Jill Stein. So that's
Susan
one
Sarandon.
conversation.
Susan Sarandon's fault.
It's all Susan Sarandon's
She is
fault,
all
yes.
powerful. We should really build a statue.
Exactly.
Can we blame Cynthia too, although she didn't win?
Cynthia Nixon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just throw her on the
Buddy,
pile.
who
Joe
was ever-
Jorgensen. Yeah, all of them.
Anybody whose favorite color is green, it's all your fault
Hey,
too.
that's my favorite color, Jackie.
It's
Aha.
double your fault then.
I'll
Maybe
take the
even
blame.
triple. I'm not sure how. It's all your
I'm
fault.
proud.
It's completely Misty and Susan Sarandon's fault.
Yeah.
So there's that discussion, and then the other discussion is, and this is the one that kind of might come out of nowhere. Do we need the Supreme Court? Here's why I ask that, because I was, of course, on TikTok, because what else do I do? I was on TikTok, and somebody pointed out that the Supreme Court should technically be illegal because they're government positions and they were not elected.
Yeah. Thank you. Lifetime appointments? No.
Not elected.
No.
Lifetime appointments, but no election.
Nope.
So-
Nope.
Do we need the Supreme Court as it stands? Like, if we say, yes, we need the Supreme Court, of course we need the Supreme Court. They're the ones who decide the decisions. Okay, so then as it stands, meaning with the lifetime appointments, with the corrupt politicians approving them, or should we get a chance to vote for them ourselves? I'm going to start with Meg because you weren't here first, so jump on in. Collect your thoughts. Your 30 seconds.
Okay, I mean, obviously this is a trash law. I think we can all agree on that. It's a trash law.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't think that anyone is to blame except for, one, Republicans for passing the laws, but two, the Democrats for doing jack shit to actually defend us from the Republicans from passing those laws. What did they actually do? Where were they in trying to pass laws in order to protect abortion? Where were they? Like, for instance, Medicare for All gets rid of the Hyde Amendment, which makes it so that women who are on Medicaid and the IHS and who are with the Peace Corps can't pay for an abortion using Medicaid. And honestly, like, this is why I'm a big proponent of reproductive justice, because under reproductive justice, the reason that came across that, because one, Roe v. Wade, the way that it was framed as being for a woman's privacy, that framing was all wrong. It was just wrong. That's not how that argument should have ever been framed. So, like, I am 100% for Roe v. Wade. I believe in a woman's right to an abortion, and I believe in a woman's right to choose. But Roe v. Wade was not framed correctly. And again, there are some books I can recommend on reproductive justice. If you want that recommendation, just let me know, and I will be happy to recommend it to you. But
Can I make a quick suggestion on that?
Yeah.
You guys should have like a recommended reading list on your website.
oh,
We do.
We're
I
planning
just
on
have
it.
to
Do you?
update it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been to look, so sorry. That just popped in my head when you said that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's got like
y'all
two
know I
books on
recommend a lot of
there
books.
that both
Okay.
came from Meg.
Okay.
So
Y'all know I recommend a lot of books. Y'all know I do.
yeah,
Yes.
because
I'm a
I
big
forget who
reader.
it is. There's another really cool website. I'm like blanking on who it is now, but they have like an awesome recommended reading section. So that's what made me think of it.
Yeah. So, but one of the people you should really look into is look into Sister Song in Atlanta. They are a reproductive justice organization run by women of color, particularly Loretta Ross, who is a big proponent of reproductive justice. Okay, I'm gonna recommend the damn book. Fuck it.
Okay,
It's this one right
here
here.
on Oprah.
Oprah's book club. It's Meg's book club.
Leftist book club.
I am totally having a book club. I'm
should.
starting a book club.
You
I'm
should.
starting a book club, guys. Radical Reproductive Justice. There's so much information in this book. I had to read it for college, but I highly recommend it. There are so many articles and good pieces of information in here. But learn what reproductive justice is, because honestly, it will change the way that you see the pro-life, pro-choice movement. Like, that dichotomy should not exist. Reproductive justice, read about it. Seriously. It will change your perspective on it. But as far as, like, I will continue to argue that the Democrats did nothing to actually protect a women's right to choose. They've been doing nothing but basically sitting on their hands and just letting Republicans roll back these, like, this is one of the reasons why it's so bad that the Democrats have been moving further and further to the right. Because they're just allowing it to happen. They're complicit. They're complicit. And so when we have these people like Jill Filipovic saying, oh, everybody who voted for Jill Stein, this is all your fault. Like, no, it was not Jill Stein's fault. It was not Jill Stein's fault. Hillary Clinton herself said that she would have compromised on abortion. So no, it is not Jill Stein's fault. It is not Susan Sarandon's fault. It is not any person on the left, anyone who did not vote for Hillary Clinton, it is not their fault. It is Hillary Clinton and the DNC's fault for not putting up a better fight. For not putting up a better candidate who could actually win against a real estate tycoon. I mean, what the hell?
She handpicked her own opponent and lost, y'all. She handpicked him. Thank you, WikiLeaks. Thank you, Julian. Free Assange.
This is what is so ridiculous. They did not put up a fight. They put up zero fight. They put up a candidate who would have compromised on abortion anyway. Joe Biden was for the Hyde Amendment up until it was inconvenient for him anymore. They are not for
Hillary
us.
chose Tim Kaine. Hillary chose Tim Kaine.
Thank
As
you.
her vice presidential nominee.
Yeah, they want to talk about how they want to protect abortion rights? Bull fucking shit. Bullshit. They are complicit. They are complicit. So don't give me any more of this crap. That is Jill Stein or Susan Sarandon or any leftist fault who has a podcast. Because I saw a lot of that shit too. That is podcasters' fault that Hillary Clinton lost. Like, no, it's not. It's Hillary Clinton's fault. It's the DNC's fault. It's all their fault for rigging the election and having a shitty candidate.
And it's Bernie Sanders' fault for not standing up for himself and his supporters when he got
Absolutely.
obviously cheated in broad daylight. WikiLeaks gave you everything you needed to know to have a case and to fight back against that nonsense. And we're gonna political revolution. Dude couldn't have tucked his tail faster. I mean, he is
Are you
a
kidding?
coward.
We have idiots who are even going as far back as blaming Ralph Nader. It was not Ralph Nader's fault either. It was the fault. Okay, how about we blame the Democrats who voted for Bush in Florida and Gore who didn't fight back when SCOTUS was trying to overthrow that election to Bush. But Gore won Florida. Gore won Florida. He should have fought. So no, don't blame Jill Stein, Ralph Nader, or anybody when Democrats don't fucking fight.
By design, again. And again,
By design.
They're real pissed off at Ralph Nader still. Like, they hate it. Why are they mad at Ralph Nader? For giving us George W. Bush, who they have rehabilitated, who they love now, who they like, oh, isn't he cute? Look, Michelle Obama's giving him a big old hug, and he's passing out candy at funerals, and he's like doing his painting. He's a war criminal, and you've rehabilitated him. You hate Ralph Nader still for giving you George W. Bush. But George W. Bush is fine now. You don't make any sense. There's no logic to that whatsoever. I'm so done with these turds. There's no intellectual consistency whatsoever. None.
Hey, Jackie, can I actually answer that super chat real quick about
Sure,
So when it comes to the Republicans, so the whole thing about abortion, let's make clear what this is really about. They don't want abortion because they don't want white women having abortions.
Sure.
That's what this is really about. Black women, Latina women, they were forcibly giving them hysterectomies back in the 70s.
They're still doing it in
They're doing
prisons.
forced hysterectomies in prisons, on the border. They don't actually, because as Steve King so eloquently said, we can't rebuild our country with other people's babies. So this is what this abortion thing is really about, is that they don't want white women having abortions. But, you know, upper class women, especially upper class white women, they'll never have a problem having abortions. They can go wherever the hell they want to have an abortion. But that's the whole point. They want white women to be keeping their babies. Because white women are having fewer children. That's what it has always been about. Look back at why they opposed the birth control pill back in the early 1900s as well. It's the same reason. Because they wanted white women to keep having children. But eugenicists had no problem with population control if it meant killing black children and killing Latino children, killing immigrant children, Native Americans. They had no problem with that. They had no problem, you know, giving forced hysterectomies to Latino women. Watch the documentary No Mas Bebes and you'll learn a lot about that, what was happening in the 70s in California. Like, they have no problem when it's people of color. But that's what this whole abortion thing is all about. They want white women to continue to have babies.
Okay, I'm going to help
That's
out
what it's
Nolan
about.
because she's asking for clarification. She said, can someone please explain that? I'm not following. Is there something in the law that specifies white women can't? No. So what Meg is talking about is before, like back in the 70s, Republicans were actually pro-choice. The reason why Republicans became pro-life and the reason why they called it pro-life is because what Meg said. They realized, someone did the math, and they realized that by about now, if they didn't stop, they realized, like she said, too many white women were not having enough children. Too many black, brown, everybody else were. So they needed to cull the herd of the black and brown population, but not the white women. They needed them to continue. So the best way to do that is to make abortion illegal.
Yep.
So that way they can't have an abortion. So that they're forced to carry their children to term so that they don't end up becoming the minority. That's the whole thing. So no, the law doesn't say it's just white women that can't do it. But what she means by that is, so the law is just like nobody's supposed to have an abortion. But the reason why she says that it's mainly for white people, it is. And like she said, there are forced sterilizations on people of color all the time. We're still doing it at the border.
Yes, and that's in
So
prisons, and that's why abortion
it's not
clinics usually
specifically
go
for
up
people of color.
in that's why abortion clinics usually go up in communities of color.
Exactly. Abortion communities are like, before you see a hospital, you will see a Planned Parenthood in a poor neighborhood or an area that is an area of color. But in the white neighborhoods, that's where they're fighting. You ever notice the protest? It's always the nice neighborhoods. It's the white neighborhoods. That's where they don't want abortions to be legal. That's the point.
Yeah, and like abortion, pro-life is incredibly white supremacist. Not only in that, like, we are also, forcing sterilizations in people of color, but also whenever you think about who is going to be the ones criminalized for, these abortions, who's going to be criminalized? Who are the ones that they're going to call the cops on? It's going to be people of color. Because white women, if they can go to another state, very, very often, they can go to another state. They can often afford to go to another state where it is legal and have an abortion. They will have no problem. It will be women of color who will suffer the most. Not only from not being able to get an abortion that they need, but also they will be the ones criminalized if it's found out that they had an abortion, or if they try to have a DIY abortion. They will be the ones criminalized. 100%.
That's another
They'll
good
be the ones
point.
sent to jail.
That's another good point, because we should point it out that what this means is that rich white women will get safe abortions, and women of color, poor women, will get back alley abortions with coat hangers. You know what I'm saying? And that's nobody should want that. It doesn't stop abortions.
Right. This is what Roe v. Wade was designed to prevent.
Roe v. Wade is very racist.
Right. It is. 100%. But
Along with all our other laws.
But this is what it was.
That
is what it was designed to prevent, is back alley abortions. But unfortunately, the reality is that. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I completely lost my train of thought. I can't.
If you're a black or a brown woman and you need an abortion, and you don't have any health care, or you don't have any health care coverage with your job or wherever you work. Where do you get an abortion?
Right, and guess who is more likely to be on Medicaid or on IHS? Women of color. And guess what? Medicaid and IHS they're not allowed to do. Pay for abortions.
Couple of comments that I want to talk about really quick. Bill Bradley said, no one goes to jail. It is a lawsuit for money. Okay. And if you get sued and you don't have the money, what happens?
You go to jail. And that's just this is just the first step, fam. You think this isn't going to go farther? Come on.
Also, like I said, the whole reason, the reason why these bills are so ridiculous is they're trying to force companies like the the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center to sue them to take it all the way up to the Supreme Court so they can retry Roe v. Wade. That's the whole reason for all of these.
And also, this is a really good political football. We're coming up on election season. This is why these types of issues never get solved. They never really do any substantive work to solve, because we could have a legit conversation and put something into law that everybody voted on, agreed on. Democrats there's been multiple opportunities for Democrats, like Meg said. There's been multiple opportunities for them to settle this in a way that it's not as contested. You know what I'm saying? And it's a choice to not do that, because then they're able. It's like Medicare for all. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will run on that, but then when it comes time to fight for it, she's not going to fight for it, because she wants to use it next time when she's running, when she can tell you we're going to fight for Medicare for all, even though she's not going to fight for it. You know what I'm saying? They love these types of issues that are emotionally driven issues that they can use to manipulate people in an election year. They love this stuff. I mean, this is how they maintain power and control. I mean, they work together. These parties work together. That's why there's you'll see Nancy Pelosi up there, ripping up Donald Trump's speech, but she's friends with him. She's friends with Mitch McConnell. They're all friends. They go on vacation. There's a picture of Donald Trump's daughter and Joe Biden's granddaughter on vacation together. Hillary Clinton's daughter and Donald Trump's daughter hanging out together. They go to the same dinner parties. They vacation together. Come on. It's a charade. It's a soap opera with psychopaths.
And they all know Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Thank
Jonathan.
you, Andy.
Hey, Jonathan, read up about intersectionality. Race and class go together.
I was just about to say, to address his comment. First of all, it's not a theory. That's actually the reason why. Second, his comment is Meg's race theory is absurd and disorients from the real problem, capitalism. This assault in Texas is an attack on working women. Yes, they're disproportionately non-white, but all working women suffer.
Not just
you are
working
right.
women.
All working women suffer. But first, there are a couple of things. First of all, it's not a theory. It's actually why. Second, it does not disorient from the real problem, capitalism. Capitalism and racism go hand in hand, because the original capital in this country were people who looked like me. It's the same thing. They are not distinct. They are intrinsically linked.
Yep.
That is our point. So she is not distracting from the point. She is telling you the point. Just listen.
That's right. Exactly. The United States is a systemically racist country that was created by slave owners. Right? Most of the laws have a racism flavor to them. that they were all like the entire process of redlining, everything. Where was the is it Tulsa where they bombed Black Wall Street?
Mm-hmm.
Like the
one of
whole-
many Black Wall Street.
Many.
That's
One of many, because
The
it
entire
happened
history
multiple
Another thing
times.
kids
That's
aren't
just the most
taught.
popular.
Yeah.
So if you need to default on the side of racism, because chances are that's the motivation to what laws are written in this country or in the United States.
Yes. Okay. So then to the next part. Oh, actually, Andy. So
Yes.
you're next.
I am.
On
Is
the
this my
question
good
of
side?
do we need
He's
on
ready for his
Oh yeah, I
close-up.
didn't even answer that part of the question about the Supreme Court.
yeah, do we need okay,
That was a
so
great
Meg,
rant, though, Meg. I have to say. Like,
go ahead
that
and
was
finish,
good. I like it.
Meg. Do you think we need the Supreme Court? And if you say yes, then do we need it in the form that it is in?
I do think that there is value to the Supreme Court in, deciding in basically what it was laid out in the Constitution of, deciding, reading through laws and saying, okay, that is constitutional, that's not constitutional. However, it will always be a political thing. That's just, like, ever since it was first put in. It will always be political. Because the way that they decide who gets to be on the court is completely decided. It's decided by Congress. It's decided by the president, so it will always be political. Always.
Well, as it stands right now, it's entirely decided by the president, but Congress approves. But it is.
Oh, can I break in really
Yeah.
quick? Because I saw somebody comment earlier that it wasn't like other judges across the country. It doesn't affect. Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does. Federal judges across the country. The Democrats 100% aided and abetted Donald Trump with stacking federal courts across the country, hundreds of lifetime appointees, and
That's
most
why I
of them
say
were
they're
fast
complicit.
tracked. Yes, they are absolutely complicit, and nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to bring up the facts that the Democrats want. I mean, they were fast tracked. This wasn't like they just voted for him. No, they fast tracked this stuff. Like all of these hundreds of federal judges, lifetime appointments. The Democrats 100% helped Donald Trump accomplish that. 100%. Sorry, I saw somebody comment about that earlier, and I just want to make sure that that's clear. It's not just the Supreme Court. This affects federal judges across the country.
Well, and I find it so interesting because in the American system, you have, what is the 3 branches of government, the executive, the
Legislative and judicial.
and the judicial, and the judicial is a branch unto itself. Why can't the judicial branch create the Supreme Court through, promotions or from whatever, right? Why is it that the executive branch is responsible for seeing who's going to be the top judges in the country? They're supposed to be a separate branch, for God's sakes. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, does it?
I mean, even that
They're
don't know.
supposed to be separate, but
Yeah.
like they're all. It's like checks and supposed
Yeah.
to be checks and balances on each other. Doesn't work that way.
No.
But that's the goal, or that's the stated goal.
Yeah, well,
though, I mean, though, of course, Andy does bring up a good point of the fact that when you have, the executive and the legislative picking the judicial, then if you have it all on one team, then obviously they're going to put in their own team in all of those positions. So he has a point that it makes no sense that you're basically picking your own checks and balances.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. Can
Yeah.
I just say, like, you guys are both it makes sense to have the Supreme Court. No, abolish it. Like, I'm done. We're done. Abolish it.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, Misty, that if we do continue to have the Supreme Court, it should have so many judges on it that is it's deemed pretty much either get rid of it or have so many judges that by the time that we get through it, it's okay, what's the point of this again?
Yeah.
Because
really,
that's
if you're going to keep it, then it needs to be completely reimagined. And I don't even know that I could be convinced that we need to even just reimagine it.
you know what?
Yeah.
Just get rid of it, and we'll just ask Rome.
Can we do that?
Can
we do
Roe
that?
v. Wade. What do you think, Rome?
I'll vote for
Okay.
that.
Law of the land.
I don't even vote, and I'll vote for that.
Really quick, please learn English. A theory has been tested and proven. A hypothesis is something you think but not yet have proven. A theory is demonstrably true. You are correct in scientific terms. In English, in the language portion, a theory is something that is just essentially a hypothesis. There are two different versions of a theory. The English version of a theory, just linguistically, is not proven.
Yeah, scientific is
scientific. It is. We were not speaking in scientific terms. We were speaking in language terms, so we were not wrong. Sorry.
One for the Jackie.
Well, because there is a distinction. Like, don't come on here and tell us to learn English when I know English and there's a distinction.
Yes.
So, but they're not incorrect.
In
a theory, like people talk about, like the theory of evolution. That's not the same kind of theory that we were discussing.
No.
A theory of evolution means it is correct. It hasn't been proven wrong. Right. A theory that we were talking about is something
like a political theory.
It's more like a hypothesis.
Yeah.
In scientific terms.
Come back in the second hour when we'll be postulating theorems.
Postulating is such a funny word. Postulate. I don't know why. It's one of those words that makes me giggle.
Yeah, until you have a problem with your postulate. Never mind.
So people are talking about the Supreme Court in the comments, and my personal version of the Supreme Court is, like, personally, I would have no problem getting rid of it, but then the Supreme Court is who decided that gay rights should be a thing. The Supreme Court might be the only ones to give us, pot being legal. So I can see arguments for getting rid of it, but I think that we should keep it, but not in its present state. Number one, we get rid of lifetime appointments. Number two, I think we keep it uneven, but I think that, first of all, just government in general needs to be overhauled. Third, fourth, fifth parties need to be a part of this. It shouldn't be break the duopoly. It should be, we could be more like Australian or UK, where you have different parties. And it depends on what you're for, which party you go for.
You have to be careful with that, though, too, because in England, they have multiple parties, but they really only have two.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, we have like 17, but we really only have two.
Yeah. The UK is the same way.
We should take over the independent party.
We really only have one. Yeah.
Yes, we have one, but I think that, number one, we get rid of lifetime assignments. Number two, we get rid of the appointee. They should be voted on. They should be, just like with Congress, or with Congress and with President. Why are we not voting for Supreme Court? We should vote them in. They should be. Then, if you want to stay, then you should be voted in every election term. If we don't like what you did, you get voted out. That's why I keep saying this is not a democracy. Everybody's like, in our democracy, this has never been a democracy, people. We're supposed to be a representative government. We're not even that.
Nope.
Okay. We are technically a republic, but in reality, we are an oligarchy.
Right. Because we don't even get to decide who the hell our candidates are.
Exactly. No. And the Supreme Court, the very court we're talking about right now, decided that not only are corporations people, and that they have just as much a say in how things go as we actual people do, but they also decided that money can influence elections and not to take money out of elections. So I personally think that all elections should be publicly funded, and you should just run on the merits of your idea. And I would be fine getting rid of parties altogether. I don't give a shit about this partisan. What are you going to do? I'm going to vote for you because you said what you're going to do. And
it's not even that. It's I'm going to vote for you because you're on my team. Like
that's what it is. That's why I say get rid of parties. Get rid of politics. Get rid of parties altogether, and just have full representation. People go up. They decide, I want to run for Congress. Not left or right, not blue or red. Just, I want to run for Congress. So you have a bunch of people in Congress, and they don't have to. They're not held to partisan anything. They can be held to, if you make everything publicly funded, they're held to the people who put them there, and that's a representative government.
Yeah, and if we're going to do that, we need it. Just in my personal opinion, it needs to be much more decentralized. You know,
Yes.
there are too few people with too much power. I'm not okay with that. That becomes very easy to corrupt very quickly because not everybody. Look at, I mean, what is it? The Princeton study where like our opinion does not matter at all.
No.
At all. If you are not within like the top maybe 5% of the economic population, your opinion matters not to them, not even a tiny bit. Like these are people who are supposed to represent you, that you and your communities are supposed to go and, you know, research and study, and they're supposed to. No, that's not what happens. And they represent a ton of people, and none of their opinions make a difference. And
Not even the squad, right?
Yeah.
Like, not even the people that said they were going in there to fight for us, right?
Mhm. Don't get me started, Andy.
Okay, listen,
I could go on a whole thing there, homie.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to drop off, guys. I got something I have to do.
Okay.
take
No worries,
care of,
Oh
Andy.
no, we're gonna go back to a triangle.
It's all right. You guys.
But it'll be an all-girl
Yeah.
triangle. This is nice. I like it.
I've given you everything you need. All you have to do is do it now.
Thank you, Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye, Andy. Thank
Take
you.
care, guys.
Bye, Andy.
Okay, Citizens United was decided in 2010.
Yes. Bill Bradley's comment: corporations were taking over politics long before Citizens United passed.
Yeah.
We should reverse it, but it won't actually make that big of a
Yeah,
difference.
it was
Fair.
the 70s.
That's
It
true.
was what was it? It was in the 70s. It was
I don't know what you're.
I know it. I know what it is. I can't think of what the hell it was called. The one that decided that you could have money in politics. I can't remember what it's called.
I know what you're talking about, but I
Yeah.
also can't remember the name.
Oh, I don't.
I'm sure someone.
That
somebody
was
in the
essentially
past
like the
know.
beginning of the neoliberal takeover.
Y'all,
Yeah.
the rich and powerful have always controlled the government. Always in this country. Always. Like even the Constitution. Is
Literally
really-
when it was formed.
No, the
Yeah.
Powell memo was a big part. Buckley versus Vallejo. That's what it is.
Oh,
Buckley
okay.
versus Vallejo.
Okay.
But no, the Powell memo came
Hey,
before
Kobe.
Buckley versus Vallejo. The Powell memo basically laid out the entire trajectory as to how the conservatives gained power.
But yeah, the rich and powerful have always like this is. I don't think people realize exactly what we're up against. This isn't like a new problem. This is how it's always been. Rich and powerful have always sought the most power and control that they can manage. I mean, and whatever they have to do to get more, they'll do it. And we've been witnessing that over and over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, we're witnessing it in real time right now with all of the stuff that's going on, you know, today. I mean, there's like they're taking away rights left and right. They're, you know, look at all the anti-protest laws and all of that stuff. I mean, this is a constant attack, and we've just been really lazy about fighting. Recently, do you know what I'm saying? Like this has always been a thing. The rich and powerful have always sought control, and they've always sought to silence being exposed. So like a Julian Assange, or you know, that's why we always punish our truth tellers, because powerful people don't want their secrets exposed. It's not good for them. It's not a good look. So, you know, that's kind of what we're up against.
Yeah.
Was
Somebody
the
asked
Powell
what
memo
happened.
the thing that what's his name read?
Who? What? I'm sorry.
Why am I blanking on his name? The words are just not coming out of me.
So Powell was a judge who he wrote the Powell memo, and it basically laid out how the conservatives would gain power, and it was through money and politics. And he later, Nixon later made him the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and that way they could start that off.
What's his name? Gravel. What was the thing that Gravel read?
Pentagon
He read the
Papers?
Pentagon Papers. Yeah.
Thank
Daniel
you.
Ellsberg. Daniel Ellsberg.
It started with a P. I remembered that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Pentagon Papers. I actually have. So when he ran for president, one of the things that he did was, I don't donate to politicians. I did donate to Tulsi and Mike Gravel because to get them on the debate stage. But then he also did that thing with the rolling papers that were Pentagon Papers. I couldn't resist. That's amazing. I mean, come on, y'all. Yeah, he's that was one of the most courageous things I think I've ever seen. Like he was shaking from terror. He had he was potentially going to prison right then and there. So one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Everybody-
Here.
Everybody, welcome Rome.
What up, bro?
Oh my God, you just made my day, dude. Dude.
He's like, nah, I gotta hop in here. He's like, I can't just come. I gotta hop in.
There's a lot of things going on.
I'm so excited.
And we are yet again a table.
We're
What's up,
rectangle
Rome?
again. We're whole again.
We're
How's it
whole
going,
again.
man?
You know there
What's
are
up?
tables that are triangle, right?
Yeah.
I've seen them
Well,
in
we're
schools.
square.
Mhm. Yes, true story.
There are comments that I want to put, and then like 9 people comment, and then it's just like that's gone.
yeah.
So, what's up, Rome? How you been?
Can y'all hear me? Because I gotta use
Yeah,
my
we can.
Yeah. Actually, I don't need to have this on since I can hear y'all through the thing. Yeah, y'all was saying shit about. I just want to keep on track. Who was next about? It was Misty, right? About the Supreme Court.
Oh shit!
Yes.
I don't know. I already been talking about it. You know,
Well,
I always got
basically
something
it's
to
Misty,
say.
but she's been talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was abolish that shit. Abolish
Yeah, I
it.
feel like we don't need the Supreme Court. Like off top of the head, if you can't name me 5 things that the Supreme Court did without you saying and then there's no reason for them being here. Like I have to, I look up these cases where a lot of black men go to the Supreme Court, go to the, you know what I'm saying, go to all these courts for freedoms, and they are literally there to, like, you know, make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that we are not being held hostage and shit like that. But they don't do anything. They don't do anything. So there's no reason for them to be there if we are talking about taking care of the people. If you are all for a capitalist nation, all for, you know, these people going with unchecked power, you know what I'm saying, lifetime power, then yeah, that's for you. But that's not for me. I don't see, like, come on, man. Even fucking the biggest CEOs, and, you know, they don't even have their jobs forever. And we get these people judges.
That's a lot of power.
That's a lot of power. That's a lot of fucking there's a lot of wasted resources also, you know what I'm saying? And who the fuck are these people? Like, I voted for him and he put her in, but I never voted for her. You know what I'm saying? I never had any word. So I just don't get the point of the Supreme Court if they don't keep people out of prison, if they don't protect our you know what I'm saying, if they don't protect our natives from these pipelines. When have they ever protected our natives? Since we have made the Supreme Court? Never. So if they can't even protect the ones who was here first, then fuck them. So yeah, we don't need them. It's just another way for these people to pass power within each other, to stay powerful. Now, you know, I did you. I got you in this office. You know what I'm saying? Now you do me this favor. You get me in this office. You put my friend in that office. It's just another way for them to stay in a position of power. So if they lose this job, they can go over to here, just like Kavanaugh, right? And we see this all the time. What was the other chick name that got in? I wasn't even
Amy
paying attention.
Coney Barrett.
Yeah, they just put them in.
Yeah.
Even though she's supposed to have lost her job at the other job. It's just another way for them to cycle power within each other and stay powerful, stay rich, stay in these connections. We don't need them. We're talking about taking care of the people.
And who do you think they're doing favors for? The corporate donors of the president that appointed them. So they're still corporate controlled. It's still they don't serve the people in any way at all. Anybody fooling you're fooling yourself if you think that they work for you or that they give a shit about you. Not even a tiny bit. You're not even a consideration.
You know what's interesting? Kobe made an interesting point about the problem is some justices interpret the laws originally intended while others evolve it. And what's so crazy is a lot of these judges like Scalia and Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, who consider themselves originalists, when it comes to corporate power, they always rule in favor of corporate power. But when if you consider that an originalism, those corporations didn't exist whenever the Constitution was passed, you know? So how exactly is that originalism? Because they have land power? Is that what you mean by the constitutional originalism? Because they have land power? Because if you were if you do look at it, at the Constitution, guess who had the first rights to vote? White land-owning men. So if that's the originalism that you're talking about, then yeah, it is entirely racist. It is entirely capitalist. Like, it's total bullshit.
And speaking as
total
a commie,
100% bullshit.
Speaking as a commie, I feel like all these laws should be rewritten. Every last one. Every last one.
We need a new constitution.
Scrapped.
Yeah.
We need a new government.
Rights.
Yep.
And
burn it all down.
If we're going to get a new constitution, new Bill of Rights, new laws, what are the Supreme Court there for? We can supreme our damn self. We can judge our damn self. We don't need them, man. We just give them money, give them power for what? Well, I mean, we didn't give them power.
Right. Well, yeah.
They was given power by the person that we gave power. Come on, man.
We didn't even give that person power.
We didn't even give that person power. You know,
the powerful gave themselves power. It's funny how that works.
They always answer to somebody. Somebody higher. The Supreme Court answer to these people in the corporation answer to these people and all those. It's always somebody at the top. That's why, you know, I always get pissed off when I'm watching for him to leftists and they're like, oh, maybe we should vote locally. Shut up. Don't vote at all. Don't vote at all. Just go out there on the streets and demand what the fuck you want. Because look, if our grandparents can pass civil rights, women's rights, the weekend, if they can pass all that without progressives in office, what the fuck are we doing? What the hell are we doing? We really wasting time here and just saying, oh, well, this person is going to come save me. It's getting closer to my goal. No. You have all the power you need with your hands and your feet and your voice. All you got to do is go out there and put your hands on. No, I'm playing. And demand some shit. And demand better for your people, man. You don't need nobody. You don't need nobody. Not AOC, not Bernie, not Ralph Nader. None of them. You got your neighbors, y'all all are hurting. We about to get millions of people that's about to get evicted. Contact them. They about to lose everything. That's a reason to fight. People losing their jobs, people lost their fucking family members during the pandemic. Contact them. Talk to your neighbors. I always ask you guys, do your neighbors know that you're a socialist? Do your neighbor know that you're a communist? Because yes, you might be doing this online, but on the streets, they control this shit. They kicked me off my Twitter, and they not letting me back on. They know who the fuck I am. They not letting me back on, but they can't stop me out here. They can't stop me from educating all my people and telling them how they did a nigga like me, how they took my platform away from me because of the way I fight and the way I teach. And you know it's gonna come to an end. This friend have to left us in mic. Just blank out. Then what? Come on now. We're not gonna just stop here. We're gonna get on the streets. We're gonna teach in California. We're gonna teach in Kansas. We're gonna teach in Michigan. We're gonna teach in Florida. Anywhere that we can. Anywhere that we can. We don't need none of this shit. I'm telling y'all, it's all performative. We know it, and y'all just want us to tell y'all it. But I'm not living long. I'm not gonna live a long life. So I'm not sitting here repeating my damn self for a couple of generations to make myself rich, because I know that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna make you feel good. It's gonna make you feel all sparkly in the inside, and you're gonna give me money. And then you don't have rights. You still don't have abortion rights in Texas or in Ohio. You still don't have your rights to walk around your neighborhood freely. So yeah, I can make you feel good, but I want to make you fight. I want to make you fight. I want to make you get out there. I want to make you mad. They're trying to kill you. They're trying to kill you. You think, bro, it's either neglect or what? Like, come on, man. By the hands of this government, we all gonna die. Let's turn the motherfucking tables for once. We're gonna sit here 2-3 generations and let this shit pass by, and then next thing you know, I'm gonna be the next Jenk, and this is gonna be the next CYT. Come on, man. No, I ain't doing that. But Yeah, fuck all that.
We don't have time for that shit. I was saying this earlier. Like, we don't have time. It makes me angry that more people aren't angry. Like, I get yelled at all the time. You're so mean. You're so mad all the time. Well, why are you not mad? Are you fucking kidding me? There are kids living on the street. Kids, children living on the street in the United States of America in the year 2021. And everybody's just fine with that. There are people about to be evicted. Everybody's about to lose their unemployment. We're, drone striking multiple countries across the globe. And we're giving $21 billion extra to the military industrial complex while, we can't even get healthcare in the middle of a global pandemic or whatever you know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus, why it's weird that people are not furious at what's going on right now. I am angry. Everybody should be angry. How can you look around at what's happening and not be pissed off? I'm mad. If you want to be mad at me for being mad, go ahead. I'm still mad.
I just went on a whole rant. I'm mad. But I mean, so I just looked this up just to make sure. But I mean, it is in our Constitution, or was it Declaration of Independence, where Thomas Jefferson wrote that when we are seeing tyranny from our government, we should be overthrowing that government. He's even said that we should have a revolution every 20 years, just to keep government honest. How are we not in the streets all the fucking time? Like, we have a constitution that is over 200 years old now, that very rarely gets updated. We just need to scrap the whole goddamn thing, because the reason that it was written was for racist intentions anyway.
It was actually stolen from Native Americans, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. It was
well, what did we not steal from the Native Americans?
Oh yeah, you mean the way that our government was formed was based on like the Lakota or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Well, there are multiple tribes. There's Lakota, Cherokee, Iroquois. Yeah, there are a bunch of different tribes. Basically, they came in, saw what they were doing, and were like, we're going to do that, but make sure to exclude them. And has the U.S. government honored a single treaty that they made to Native Americans? Nope. I can't think of one.
No.
Thank you, Frank, for the super chat.
Ramsey, Wallace never said that, man.
What?
He said my favorite Scotsman, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Wallace never said that, man.
But you know what I say? My saying is, they can take my body, but my words will live forever. And this is why I always teach make sure your words are not only heard but known. Make sure your voice is known, because when they hear your voice, they know who exactly you are talking for. They know what you are fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you are heard, I hear you. This is what they are doing with Black Lives Matter. This is what they did with Occupy Wall Street. Yes, you get some time on the camera, on our news organizations. I hear you. But they don't give a fuck. They're not going to do anything to change it. I hear you. No. Make sure your voice is known. So when you come through and you're yelling on your megaphone, your microphone, or your crowd with your people, however the fuck you do it, they know. Either y'all get them what they want, or something about to get flipped up. And that's not the poor area. They are in the rich areas now. They coming to the judges' houses. They protesting in front of the head of the police unions now. They're getting smart with it now. They're not burning down the police unions, the police departments. They're putting homeless people in it. They're getting smart with it now. They're not speeding up gentrification in their own neighborhoods. So what can we do? Give them what they want, or we get nothing. Like, dude, stop paying taxes. Stop buying their food. Grow your own shit. That's more power. That's more power than what they would want. Even collecting rainwater is a form of power in America. And this is why they have laws against it.
Amazing. Collecting rainwater.
Did you know that there are a lot of states where it is illegal to grow your own vegetables?
And they're trying to pass more of that. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason why Bill Gates has bought over 50% of the farmland in this country. They want to control that. They will use food scarcity. They will use that shit against you. 100%. Learn to grow food.
There's too many people.
And share.
There's too many people in this world.
Yeah.
They say it's too many people.
More gardens, fewer lawns.
They try to move us over to GMO. He buy up all the land. He control the product. He control our land. He control us.
Blackwater's
People
buying
just
up all the
don't-
property. Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland.
even though we have data that fucking kicks his ass every fucking time that said we can fit everybody inside of California, we can fit everybody inside of Texas.
And everybody on the planet inside the state of
On
Texas.
the planet. The thing is, we don't have too many people. It's just too many poor people that they fucking created, and they tired of seeing us. They used us. They didn't squeeze the. They didn't milk the cow. They milked the cow. This is probably as good as it's gonna get, without, having the world explode on humans. You know what I'm saying? Without having humans go extinct. So it's either, plant trees and knock down these fucking buildings, or get rid of a couple of billion humans. And call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but shit. I mean, the data is right there, but you can just go look it up. They don't want you alive, man. They already got what they want. That's why I don't care if, the people in Florida is getting cancer from the land that they are fucking sitting over. They don't care if the people of Flint got water, clean water. They don't care. They don't care.
My God.
They still don't have clean water.
But the reason why, there's two reasons why. Number one, because they wanted to basically they had to destroy somebody's ecosystem to get their profits, and they weren't going to do it for the rich, so they had to do it to the poor. That's why they haven't undone it. And two, as long as they're doing that, you have to buy your water because you can't use the water at your house. You can't drink it. You can't bathe in it. You can't cook with it. So now you have to buy water from
Nestle appreciates
the
your business.
corporations that are the very ones that are making it, that are
Stealing water
supply in the first place.
Profiting off of water. Fuck out of
Nestle,
here.
Nestle essentially drained the Colorado River dry. Now they're moving up to Michigan to take it from y'all.
Getting tons of water for 2 cents.
Yep.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Flint can't drink their water.
So
And everybody's just cool with that.
this was an awesome panel. You guys were really cool. We have 10 minutes left. It normally takes everybody about 2-3 minutes to get through their goodbye thing. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. We're going to start with our guest, Misty.
That's me.
Thank you for joining us. Let the good people know, give your wrap up. Let the good people know where they can find you, all of that.
Okay, I talk really fast, so this probably take 2 minutes. So I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I'm there all the fucking time. And then I also have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jesse Zerwell. We just put out a whole bunch of stuff. There's going to be more coming up. Then I have every Wednesday at 7, Bitch with Comrade Misty. I just had Sheree Snuggs on, who's amazing. I love him. This Wednesday I'm having Danny Haifong on, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It's like a 2-hour therapy session. It's good and fun for everybody. It's like good, clean family fun. Not really, but it is fun. So I think that's all I have. Oh, and the Damn Wars protests are coming up on the 11th. If you're in the DC area, go to one, or go to that one. If there's some sister satellite protests around the country, find one, go be one. Get a poster board and a Sharpie and go be one. That's it. I'm done.
I like that.
Okay, Rome, what do you have going on?
Shit, Joe. No, I'm playing. This Saturday, I'm going to be doing an exclusive rock band. Well, I'm going to be on Rock Band and Haps. Haps, I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm going to be on those two. We're going to do, you know how I do. We're going to be talking shit. I got a lot of things going on. We're going to be, do some breaking news and all that crap. I'm doing a giveaway. So I'm going to pick at random. Somebody is going to win either a Kiss the Commie t-shirt or Eat the Ritz t-shirt. Or if my new t-shirt comes out in time, hopefully, you can get that one. But I'm trying to get Anthony Clark to be a guest, so don't miss out on that. We're gonna be kicking it, man. We're gonna do music time, all that shit. We're gonna chill out, talk our shit. You know how we do. Yeah. Fuck you.
Hey, Meg.
Oh, Rome, I miss you.
That's funny. Everybody loves Rome. All right, so all right, I just had a great interview with Andre Walton on Tuesday. We talked about local organizing, and I thought it was a really good conversation. I definitely want to have him back on sometime soon. The Killjoy Guide is moving to Sundays, so you can now catch the show on Sundays at 6 p.m. So look for it then. You'll see me there. And Jackie, don't we have something going on in Nerdolitics?
Yeah. Is that Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's something fun going on in her.
Craig's gonna.
What is it? Oh, and though on Monday we're gonna be talking about Snowpiercer on Monday. We're gonna have the Vanguard on the show, so
Yes.
that should be fun.
But
yeah,
so,
what's going on with Nerdologics, Jackie?
All right. So for me, you can find me here on FHL on Mondays, every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific. Figure it out in your time zone. I am the coastal
4
elitist.
Eastern.
See, now you just ignored all. Now we have to say Mountain and Central. What if they're in Australia? Anyway, so Nerdologics is every Monday, 1 p.m. to 1 p.m. / 4 p.m. And this upcoming week, we are going to be talking Snowpiercer with people,
Vanguard, yeah.
the Vanguard,
With people.
I suck at this. I was like, I don't remember who they were.
With people.
Anyway,
That's great.
sorry. Anywho,
I don't know why that makes me giggle so hard.
Okay,
and go to our. If you want to support the show, any of the shows, you can go to Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/FHL Network. And you can donate there. We also have a Patreon, but Ko-fi does not charge us ridiculous fees. So for Ko-fi over Patreon, you can also do a monthly subscription there. We also have a website. Noli D decided to put up. Thank you. FredHamptonLeftist.com. There you can find our merch store. Buy merch. We have merch stores for different so far it's just Nerdologics that has the show, but I'm sure that other people will put merch up at some point, and that other shows will have merch coming soon. But for right now, you can get the FHL logo, you can get Capitalism Kills, all kinds of fun stuff, and that's pretty much it for me.
well, Jackie, what's going up on Ko-fi and Patreon and Rock Band? There's something special we're doing for Nerdologics. We're gathering
yes, and Meg is going to tell you what that is.
Damn it, Jackie. So we're going to be gathering. We want you guys to tell us what movies you want us to cover on Nerdologics. Yes. So go to either Rockfin, Ko-fi, or Patreon and start putting in what movies you want us to cover. And we're going to have a special edition of Nerdologics at the end of September where we're gonna gather all these different movies and put polls out on the different social media platforms, and whoever is the winning movie, we're going to have a special edition of Nerdologics at the end of September where not only will we cover that movie, but we'll also invite the person who recommended that movie onto the show. So get your recommendations in now, that way you can be ready for that. We're only collecting data for 1 week. You have 1 week. Get your movie recommendations in.
If y'all niggas really miss me, y'all better come over on Rock Band. Y'all better subscribe to motherfucking Rock Band, Fred Hampton Leftist, and on Haps. Because we're gonna be going. It's gonna be a 3 to 5 hour show. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of things. Like I got a lot of things written down, and I'm ready to talk about a lot of stuff. So we're gonna if y'all miss me, subscribe to our Rock Band, and you can follow me on Twitter.
Paul, that's how
follow me on Twitter under Tour for the Poor.
Yes.
That's
or Fred Hampton Left. He has access to that.
Yeah, but that's like my separate thing that you can donate to, just for the Tour for the Poor. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So.
Oh, Quaker Socialist just started TikTok. That's
okay,
cool.
yes, and subscribe to our TikTok too. Get us to 10,000 on TikTok.
Also, we just started a Facebook group, so you guys can join us there. You just have to send, please do me a favor. If you want to be, yes, that's our TikTok. We have like 5,200 followers on TikTok. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's really easy. You just look for Fred Hampton Leftist Facebook group or FHL Network, I think. But there are 3 questions. They're really easy questions. They are literally yes or no questions. Just answer the damn questions, please. So yes, we have a Facebook. We
Answer
have
the
a
damn
Facebook
questions,
page. We have a Facebook group. The Facebook page you can just like Facebook group. Answer the damn questions.
Please.
That was great. Jackie, I love you.
Thank you. So yeah, today, sometime later today, we're going to be putting up that the poll or the questionnaire for everybody on Ko-fi, Rockfin, and Patreon. So yeah, it's a paywall poll, but or it's a paywall question, but the polls, not my last name, LLs, are going to be free. Anybody can vote, and voting will be for 2 weeks. Whatever we pick, that'll be the movie that we talk about.
Yeah,
I remembered that completely.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Obviously, you just wanted Meg to be able to be the one to announce it. That's all. Just
Of course.
doing her a solid. It's all right.
So thank you to everybody for showing up and listening to our goofy asses. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the Ko-fi. Thank you to everyone for the people on Rockfin who gave us a tip and watched us there. Thank you to Fred just said Jay told me Rome is here. Rome is here. Thank you. Oh, here's our Facebook page. Facebook.com/FredHamptonLeftist.
If y'all want to talk to
We
me,
also have a
come
group.
on TikTok. I'm on TikTok all day. If y'all want to talk to me personally, come on TikTok.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who came and listened to our goofy asses. Thank you to all the super chats and the super stickers. Y'all are awesome. Let's see if I can do this properly this time. Maybe. Damn it!